Denny Hamlin is basically on a press tour, and Timmy Hill has a very interesting sponsor coming up next. What's going on, everybody? If I haven't earned your subscription, hopefully today is the day I will earn that subscription. All right, Denny Hamlin is basically on a press tour. He gave an extended interview to Adam Stern of the Sports Business Journal, and he also went on the Dale Jr. download and expanded upon those thoughts. Now, both of these are super long, so I'm only going to touch on a couple of points, but let's first take a look at a quote from the Adam Stern article. That's where it comes back to that conversation this year with France. While the 2311 intends to eventually expand, the team is placing any plans to buy further charters or develop a new headquarters on hold until teams figure out where they'll be able to get more TV money with the next media rights deal, which will start in 2025. 2311 also wants a clearer picture on the cost of operating the new generation of race cars. I will go on the record as saying that I was meeting with Jim France and that my messaging was clear and that we need to stop talking about cutting. Cutting does not equal growth. If we are working collectively, we can grow the sport together. With the business model, we will have to change for that to happen. We at 2311 have big plans, but those plans are on hold until we see change. He would go on further to elaborate on the Dale Jr. download, where he said basically to the effect that NASCAR goes after its own sponsors, the tracks go after their own sponsors, and the teams are going after their own sponsors, and sometimes these sponsors conflict with each other. The example he gave is that he had a sponsor for Richmond, but that sponsor was not allowed to come to the racetrack and promote its brand or whatever because NASCAR or the track already had a sponsor in place, and he said that is one of the things they need to look at and fix. You can't have all of these entities vying for different sponsors, and when those sponsors conflict, the teams get the raw end of the deal on that particular situation, I guess. So that is one really good example he had. Another thing he touched on was, on the Dale Jr. download at least, is that the reason the short tracks are not doing well is because the diffuser on the bottom, the $50,000 carbon fiber diffuser on the bottom, you can't get it low enough because they have these basically blocks that won't let it get low enough to actually create downforce. So one of the reasons the short tracks are not as good as they were last year is because they've got the carbon fiber diffuser on there. So I think going forward, this is a pretty easy fix, right? For the short track races, just get rid of the diffuser, let the cars get back down onto the ground, and let's go racing, right? So possibly a very easy fix going forward for the short tracks, and I thought that was very interesting, pretty insightful from him as well. And the final thing he had to say was getting younger people involved with the sport. He said the average age of the NASCAR fan is 62, and he appreciates all of the decades that they've watched and supported the sport. But now we need to get younger fans to keep the sport alive. And basically the point he was making is we want to get your grandkids and kids involved the way you were involved and love the sport. And he said one of the best ways to do that, first off, before I get into this, I think that's actually a really good way of looking at it, because a whole lot of times, and myself included sometimes, we'll look at it and be like, man, they're just trying to change the sport. They're trying to ruin everything I grew up watching. Sometimes we get like that for sure, right? But if we look at it through the vein of, hey, look, we're trying to get our kids, our grandkids involved in this so that they can love the sport as much as we do, I think that's probably a more positive way to look at some of this stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm still going to be against some of the stuff NASCAR does. I don't agree with all of the stuff they're implementing here. But like I've always said, I will try anything at least one time to see if it is viable and is a good direction for the sport. So I am open to try a few things here and there. I'll give anything a chance, but if it doesn't work and it is absolutely terrible, we need to go away from it. But that being said, one of the things he said is it's hard to sell people on sitting in metal bleachers in 90-degree heat, and that is something I've actually been harping on. The fan experience needs to be revamped considerably. He said you look at, basically what he was getting at was you look at all these festivals and things that Gen Z is going to, you have to create a unique, personalized experience to get Gen Z engaged into an event. And I think NASCAR could basically just look at festivals that are popular with Gen Z and take some good ideas from those. So I think he actually does have a pretty good point here because NASCAR does need to basically involve younger fans. And just me personally, the times I've been to the racetrack this season, I think there have been quite a few younger fans there. I don't think this age 62 demographic quite exactly fits. I don't know exactly how they came up with that number, what poll they used to get to it, but that might be the majority of the fans, but there still are plenty of young fans going to the racetrack, so I don't think it's quite in the dire straits that they're making it out to be here, but definitely it is good to reach out to younger fans because that keeps the sport healthy and growing. And speaking of getting young fans involved, Timmy Hill has a new sponsor, Prime Hydration. That would be KSI and Logan Paul's sports drink or whatever. So Logan Paul and KSI, I never thought I would attach that with NASCAR, but I think it's actually really good that they're getting involved with the sport. Super popular among people younger than me. So good for Timmy Hill. He's got a sponsor, and hopefully that goes well, and they sponsor future races. So, yeah, you like that smooth transition there. Yeah, younger kids, and then I went to the KSI sponsorship. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. All right, that is all I've got for you today. If you like the content or have made it this far, feel free to subscribe down below. If you got a comment, leave it down in the comment section. I try to get to as many as I can. And other than that, thanks for your time. Peace.